I give a simple example. If it's a young learner, it's say 5 years, 6-year-old learner. You just ask them what is 1 plus 1. And the obvious answer is 2. If I ask anyone over here, you'll say 2. And if you say, hey, why is 1 plus 1 2? And you'll say, hey, one glass and another glass is 2. And then you ask them that, what is 1 drop of water plus 1 drop of water when they get together? It's not 2, it's 1 large drop of water. And that's where the curiosity starts.
6,500 learners at JBCN. You feel so responsible for educating a generation with so much of automation that is going to come into play. What do you think will be the foundational skills that make a school relevant for a child today?
It's not only skills. I think it's a combination of skills and values that is required for young kids today, for learners today. Adaptability, for example, just to be able to pivot. Everyone in this room had to pivot their business in some way or the other when COVID came, right? If you were not adaptable, if you could not transfer that skill set, then a lot of the businesses or a lot of the organizations didn't survive. So I think adaptability is something that's really important as a skill. Your obvious ones like leadership, communication, etc. I also feel that for today's kids moving forward, I think EQ is more important or as important as IQ. I think a lot of what we're going to see in the future is about people management, because you will have tools, AI or any other tools that come up in the future that can do a lot of the work that is being done now, but you need the right EQ and the right mindset for people management. And similarly, I think the values are important, just to have the right values in terms of respect, honesty, integrity. I think these are time-tested. Doesn't matter what's going to happen in the future. I think that'll always keep an individual grounded and give them the mental strength we keep talking about. And the last thing I want to say is, at least at JBCN, I think we've changed the narrative. I don't think it's about building the right skills or values to be future ready, but the narrative that we are going with is actually build them so you can go out there and actually change the world, rather than try to fit into what the world will be, to actually go out there and say, hey, I'm going to make a difference as I move forward.
I absolutely love that, because when you're not aware of the unknown, you rather just be so resilient and evolving that it helps. What would be the pillars of how schools can contribute to raise curious learners, global learners, and for someone to be in that evolution phase of the unknown, right? Where they don't know what they're really prepping for. What is the role of schools and how is it evolving? How old is JBCN? Like how many years, and how has that evolution been from the time that you started to how the curriculum has changed?
Yeah, so JBCN is now 20 years old. And I think the change and the evolution now is not, earlier it used to be every 10 years or 12 years. I think now every 2 or 3 years we are seeing change, we're seeing an evolution, we're seeing different skills that are important. And just to kind of think about the way we've gone about this entire process, I think for us it's about identifying what we want to achieve and then going into how we want to achieve it. So whether it's curiosity, whether it's an entrepreneurial mindset, whether it's resistance, or any of these skills that we spoke about, I think we first identify what we want to do. And then we think of different programs, resources, teachers, training, of how we are going to implement this.
And what I really want to emphasize on when you spoke of EQ, and if I go back to our opening acts, both of last year where we did the drum circle and this year where we did the dance, how do those integrate, or what is the value of those into a learner, in a learner's life? Like how do you integrate that and why is it important?
I think it's just about allowing the mind to do different things rather than focus on one thing. I think when we all were in school, the focus was only one thing, and we had subject after subject, we have teacher after teacher coming into the classroom. I think now, all the learners are so much more mature that they need different stimulation. And the stimulation is just to keep them engaged, to keep their focus levels high. In fact, we've redesigned our schools, for example, where even in pre-primary, the learners go from class to class, from zone to zone, rather than teachers coming in, because research has shown that even that 1 minute break from going from one zone to the other, kids are chatting, they're pushing each other. It's almost like a refresh button. They go into the next zone or the next area where learning happens, and they're fresh again. So these are all part of the learning process where we kind of keep the engagement levels really high.
You've studied in an IB school. I want to ask you this question, which is, how different was it back then? How did it shape you? And how different is it today?
So I think, again, just coming back to education as a whole is very different from when I did the IB program 20 some years ago to what it is today. I think learners are doing a lot more. For example, the CAS program, learners are really involved in social work. It's a cause that they're taking up where they're realizing and building empathy and saying, hey, this is a way of life. Sports, physical activity has really changed because it's become now not only about sports, but there's a technical aspect to sports, a lot of analysis, etc. So much data is available. So when you're applying to colleges, the data you have, not only for the university you're applying to, but the program within the university you're applying to has completely changed. When back in the day, we just knew the names of universities and said, hey, these are good universities, let's apply there, without knowing or having enough data on the program. But if I can just add one more thing to my answer, what hasn't changed in the last 25 years is the grades and the expectations of high grades. So what it was 25 years ago of how well a learner needs to perform to get into a great university, that has not changed 25 years later as well. I think all the top universities, fortunately or unfortunately, still have a barrier saying, hey, this is the minimum grade that is required for you to even be considered to that university. When we went to university, we were all clones. I think there was a set template saying, this is what you have to do, these are your grades, you do this, 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 and you'll get into a good university. No more the case today. I mean, today you have to be doing something that you're passionate about, that you want to pursue. We've had learners across our schools starting their own business and actually doing fundraising for their business, and they have a thriving business while they want to go to university. There are kids in our school, and he knows them, that actually had built a prototype of an e-bike, I think, and got a patent on it, and they want to pursue that. So it's no more about saying, hey, this is the set template and you do these 6 things and you'll get into college. In fact, if you do those 6 things, you probably won't get into the college that you want to get into. It has to be out of the box, different, 7%, 5% acceptance rate. So I know that in today's time, I don't think I would have gone to college. I don't think I would have got into college if I was applying with all these kids.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.